Hello everyone, welcome to the #RugbyChat Extra. I'm Paul from drivingmall.com. With me, I have Jamie, who writes for New Zealand Radio. Hello.
Hello, how are you? Hello, everybody.
Good, thank you. And we also have Scott from Rugby United account, RugbyNZ_. But at the moment, he's having technical issues, so hopefully he will. We'll hear from him later. Hey, Scott. Just say hello. Okay, no, he's still can't hear us. Okay, so let's kick off. Obviously, the quarterfinals coming up.
Yeah.
But before we get on to that, the whole judiciary piece. So,
yeah,
what do you made of that so far?
Well, it's been another week of just very odd decisions, very strange things, and a lot of people saying that there's some bias against the have-nots as opposed to the haves, and it's pretty hard to disagree with them, really, because it seems like the lower your team plays in the competitions, the more likely you are to get banned. So it's a real shame, and World Rugby really isn't doing itself any favours off the field right now, because up until now it's been you can't really fault this World Cup. I mean, maybe a few issues about the TMO, but to their credit, they have sorted it out. It was an issue for the first few games, but since then it's gone away. But it's just a recurring theme is the sightings and the suspensions that have been very much out of balance.
The man of the match thing has also been a bit of a mess, but
that's not really their fault, right? We'll blame that on MasterCard and the rugby voting public, I guess.
Yes, definitely the voters have got it all wrong. I had a quick look at it, and it's something I'm hoping to write up tomorrow, but around the sightings thing, and I thought, I'll pop online, I'll have a look at the sort of 5 or 10 sightings I've heard of so far, and I'll write an article about it. And I popped online and went, oh my God, there's 3 pages of the bloody things. It's not, there isn't just, we're hearing about 4 or 5 of them. Obviously Tuolangi, there was the eye gouging one early on, and then a couple in this last round. So Pocock not getting cited, O'Brien just getting a week, and there was one other one, wasn't there? I can't remember who the other one was. The two Scots guys, that's it. Yeah. That's right. So I mean, all the talk is around 5 or 6 of them going, hey, look, there's clearly a difference. And then actually, what I need to do anyway is to go through all the other ones and just see, of the sort of the 15 or 20 that we're not hearing about, what's the balance there? Are we just seeing people nitpicking or cherry picking some, and that's what we're all hearing about, or is it actually there is a systemic thing? I mean, I did look through the first page, and you do see lots of minnows. You don't see very many of the big names. So even if the actual bans aren't necessarily longer, which I have to go, I'll wait and see. There does appear to be a lot more volume of sightings for the minnows.
And it's a shame, because a lot of it's for things that people wouldn't even know that are against the rules. Really, I mean, a lot of things that should have been dealt with on the field at the time.
Yep.
And if they are there are rules against them, penalize them. But it's like, how can you do a tip tackle on the field and have it not dealt with on the field, and then the guys show up on Monday and they've been banned for the most important game of the tournament. It's really robbing the tournament of some really important players and some potentially big results, because now Scotland are going into this game, a game that they're massive underdogs for anyway, but now they're outgunned. So it's a real rip-off for their fans, and it's a real rip-off for all us neutrals watching, because we just want to see something. We want to see the best players on the field. And
absolutely. But also, this question is how long afterwards can the TMO see something? Because O'Brien did his sucker punch in the first minute or something. It was right at the beginning of the game. If he'd gone then, clearly the French, 14 men for that length of time, you'd say the French would win. So if something like that comes to light halfway through the first half, should he get red carded then, or do we wait and say, actually, you know what, we're going to punish, we're going to let another team get the advantage, not you guys.
Exactly. Yeah.
So maybe there's a bit of. I know we all say don't slow the game down for the TMO, and the TMO shouldn't be able to look back too far. But I think there's for some blatant things like that, maybe there is space for it, or it gets reviewed at halftime kind of thing. The referee can have a quick look back at some things in the first half and go, hey, you're not back on the second half, mate. You're off. Anyway, that's all. Let's. We've only got another 20 minutes before you've got to head off. So let's get through the fun bits.
Yep.
So the first one, obviously the big game, onto the badge. New Zealand, France in the Millenniums in Cardiff for a quarterfinal. But you've not got Wayne Barnes. We've got Michael Owen. Jeez, no. Owen.
Nigel Owens.
Nigel Owens. There we go.
Yeah. To be honest, you know, it was. I think a lot of New Zealand rugby fans, once the draw came out and they sort of put 2 and 2 together, quarterfinal France, Cardiff, and you know Wayne Barnes is one of the top referees in the world now, so there was every chance he could have got it. I would have been quite happy if he'd got this game. It would have been quite a nice bit of symmetry in this, but you know we've got. It would have been even nicer to get Craig Joubert, who is the All Blacks sort of personal referee. But I think Nigel Owens would do a good job. You know, he's not the sort of guy that anyone's going to come out having any problems with at the end of the game. I think there was one game at Twickenham, I can't remember if it was last year or the year before, where you know he didn't have such a great game and people were coming out and bagging him. But I think he's probably one of the better referees in the world. And right now, I think if the All Blacks, if France do go on and upset the All Blacks, it's not going to be because of referee, because they're going to need a lot more than that, the way I see it.
Yeah, no, it's I think they've gone and said, right, this is the big game of the quarterfinals. We're going to give it to our top ref, and Nigel Owens has gone and got it. That's clear. But yeah, it is fun, isn't it? Though the symmetry is brilliant. It's a great storyline, and us writers just love it. So I've been having great fun with it this week on Twitter. It's been it's been so. And also then the symmetry to the last World Cup where France decided to ditch their coach and suddenly make it to the final. And so what happens this week? That's.
This is brilliant. I woke. This is when you wake up and you're a rugby writer and you're like, oh, thank you. You know, this is fantastic. That's the French. I mean, you know, they're a nation has a history of getting up and overthrowing things, and for them to do this 2 World Cups in a row, it's unbelievable. You know, you sack your coach halfway through a World Cup. I love it. It's one of the. This is why I don't mind, losing to France as much as any other countries. They just do it in such an outrageous way. And I wrote a column that's coming out tomorrow, where Dusautoir, I presume, has taken over the leadership of the team, and it seems to me that it's just with France, it's just a matter of time before their coach just botches it and one of the senior players just takes over. And this has just happened again. And halfway through a tournament, I mean, it worked for them last time. So I hope that it can make them play well tomorrow and on Sunday, but not too well. It's more hilarious than anything else.
It is. I just got to, sorry, you're going to get a tour of my house as I just go and just check why my kids are crying out.
Fair enough.
Yes. There we go. Sorry about that.
No, it's all right.
No.
Yeah, so I think getting back to that game, I've made a prediction. I'm going to say 25-10 to the All Blacks, and it's going to be very much a pretty old school smack them up the middle and kick it game from the All Blacks, and they're going to look to get a couple of key strikes hopefully early so they can just grind down the rest of the game, and then France might peg one back at the end. But that's how hopefully I'm seeing it.
I think, like the last final, it's going to be closer than that. I've gone for 5 points All Blacks, but we'll see. As you say, it's going to be knockout rugby. It's going to be grinding it out. It's not. I can't see them. But if there was ever going to be a game where the All Blacks weren't complacent, this is it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's worked perfectly for that.
Yeah.
So obviously and looking at the selections. France has brought in a couple of their old guys. There's a couple of changes there, and New Zealand as expected, I think.
I was interested to see that they've dropped Bastero. I dropped to the bench anyway. I had a feeling in my head that he was the guy that was going to take care of Nonu, or at least keep running it at Nonu and Smith to take down their effectiveness of taking the ball in hand, because they have to tackle his big frame as many times as they had to. So that was pretty surprising, especially replacing him with a guy who you'd probably call a real rookie at international level. He's only got 7 caps. And I think their other main selection that the French have made is replacing the halfback with Morgan Parra, which is pretty understandable. I mean, he's also he'd be their backup goal kicker as well. He might even be starting doing the goal kicking. I'm not sure. But other than that, it's a fairly predictable French team. As far as the All Blacks selection goes, the one thing I did notice that hasn't really got a lot of press is that Tawera Kurbalo has taken TJ Perinara's spot on the bench.
I missed that one.
Which is interesting. I thought that TJ was a clear second on that one, and that TKB was very much there because he was just the next best guy. They weren't actually competing for any spots. I thought that was really locked in. So that was really interesting for me.
No, I missed that one. I didn't even read down to that far. I just assumed it was the 1, 2, 3 in that order. Okay, that's cool. So next up is, let's see, the first one is trying to get the order right here, but the first game actually will be the Ireland Argentina game, isn't it? I think?
Yep. Yeah.
So
that's a big game. That's a big one. I'm picking. I've got Argentina in this one. Despite Ireland. I mean, first off, Ireland are banged up. They're missing some pretty key guys, especially Paul O'Connor. But honestly, the way that Argentina have been playing in this tournament, I'd actually back them to beat a full-strength Ireland team right now. They've been straight up the best team to watch in this comp. They have finally got over the fact that they're not just relying on their set piece. They've got some really, really exciting backs, and they're scoring some really good tries that just completely smack of instinct and just letting the ball go and giving it some air, which is fantastic for Argentinian rugby, because up until now they've very much been a team that can scrum, they can line out, and they can maul, but they've really offered not much outside of first 5. But right now they've got some guys that have some real game out there, and I think that Ireland, they're a good team and what they do is effective and everything, but if they get behind on a scoreboard, I don't see them as a team that can chase a game. So I'm picking Argentina to win this one. Close game, but I'm picking them to win.
I think, O'Connell is a loss, but I think they've got second row replacements, and they've got the leadership there through other players in the pack. I'm not too worried about that. It's more the flankers, because they lost one to injury, another one to a ban, and so suddenly you're down to third and fourth choice flankers, that's where I think they might be. So rucking is going to be could be an issue. But let's face it, from what I hear, I think Sexton's back. Sexton and Murray are just going to put it up in the air, and they're going to chase and smack them. And as you say, I just don't see that. I just don't see that working against a team that plays that way in the first place. I see, Argentina are a very good defensive side, and if you just kick it to them, they're just going to just kick it back. You need to open them up somehow. Like the All Blacks will always beat Argentina because they have
creativity, and they can make holes in the defence. I just can't see Ireland doing that because they're just a little bit too boring.
Yeah, they have got some players out wide who can play. They just haven't. Smith's not let them loose yet. One of the interesting things about Smith was apparently early on they said that right, anyone who offloads gets dropped, and they said right, we're not offloading everybody who's with a rucket quick ball. We saw a little bit of offloading in some of the warm-up games, but it's not. They've decided that's not what they do. So it'll be interesting to see what he can pull out. I'm backing Ireland for this one. I just can't see them losing it. They've been number 2 they reached number 2 in the world. They only lost one game last year. I think he'll have them in place. To me, the intriguing one. So the Boks versus the Dragons, South Africa, Wales, or South Africa versus anyone who's left standing.
Yep. Yeah, I got Africa in this one by a pretty comfortable margin. I think Wales they kind of showed last week that they didn't really have many more cards to play. They couldn't score a try against a 13-man Wallabies team, and that really said a lot that they couldn't get across the line despite having a 2-man advantage. So I really can't see them getting past the Springboks defence, which, other than the first game, which seems like a million years ago now, has actually been really staunch. Their defence, they've gone back. The Boks have essentially reverted back to type, which is to just bully teams and give it out to some really quick guys on the wings. And just really not let up for 80 minutes. So I can see the Boks winning this one quite comfortably.
It's one of the ones I think it'll be a bigger margin, but it's one of the ones I'm actually less comfortable about predicting because Wales have with their injuries and stuff. It's one of these kind of siege mentalities. You just think the way that they took on Australia. Yes, they failed to kill it off, but you just think maybe they can just do it. For all the injured players. So whilst I think it's a bigger margin than the last 2 games, I'm less comfortable actually about actually predicting it. And then finally, the new favourites versus Scotland.
Well, that's the easiest one, isn't it? I think it's going to be a bit of a walkover. I think the Aussies have. I mean, it's fair enough reward for them that they get a pretty easy quarterfinal, given that they've had to come out of the hardest pool, and that they've done it, proving that they're definitely the best team in that pool as well by a pretty considerable margin as well. I think coming the end of those games, they were definitely a clear better team than England and Wales. So I think it's going to be about a 20-point margin of victory for the Aussies, and I think they're probably going to go in this with the mentality of hopefully no one getting hurt or getting in trouble.
Yep. No, I think Australia will take this one. I'm going to have to unfortunately end it here as I've got the little ones to look after. But yeah, no, I think I can see Australia taking this one comfortably, especially with Scotland losing a couple of players. So yeah, I think we're in agreement with that. Cool.
Oh, nice to chat.
Good to chat. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.